Okay, so we've got this long division problem, and this works just like division with numbers that we're all used to, only you're using polynomials instead of numbers. So you've got little variables in there. So the name of the game is the same as it is with division with numbers. You want to find a value that goes here such that when you multiply this mystery variable or value times this, it equals this. So you want to use the first term here and the first term here to place your first term up here. All right, so we know that x cubed times x is x to the fourth. So that's the term that we're going to put up top. So x cubed, then you have to take this times this whole polynomial and fill it in down here so you can subtract it and keep going. So x cubed times x is x to the fourth, so we're going to put it under the term with the same exponent, x to the fourth, and then x cubed times minus 2 is negative 2x cubed. Now notice that I left a placeholder right here because in my original polynomial I had an x to the fourth term and the next term was an x squared. So I don't have any x cubed terms, so I left a placeholder there so that when I do my subtractions I will have everything lined up the way I want. Alright, so x cubed times minus 2 is negative 2x cubed. So I'm just going to write that down here. The next step is to subtract, just like you do in division with numbers. Now notice that you fixed up this first term so that they're going to leave you with nothing. And it was designed that way. Keep in mind that you're actually subtracting this whole line from the top line. All right. Now I usually don't write a minus with parentheses there because I just remember that I'm taking a minus to everything. So x to the fourth minus x to the fourth leaves you nothing. And there are no x cubed terms up here. So 0 x cubed minus negative 2 x cubed gives you a positive 2 x cubed. Because when you're subtracting a negative, it turns it into a positive. All right? And then we've got to bring down the rest of the terms because we didn't subtract off any x squared terms, we didn't subtract off any x terms, and we didn't subtract off any constants. So we're left with 2x cubed plus 12x squared minus 8x plus 13. And then we play the same game again. So we look at this term, and what would it take multiplied by that term to give us this term? Well, I can see that I'd need to multiply this x right here. I would need to multiply that by 2x squared. All right, so 2x squared times this thing, and then times this thing is what we're going to do next. So 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. 2x squared times negative 2 is minus 4x squared. And again, we're going to subtract that whole line from this whole line. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed leaves us nothing. 12x squared minus negative 4x squared makes it 12x squared plus 4x squared, which gives us 16x squared. We didn't subtract anything here, and we didn't subtract anything here. So we're just going to bring down the negative x and the negative 8x and the positive 13. Same game again. We're going to look and see what multiplied by that x would give us 16x squared. And we can see that that is 16x. Again, we're going to multiply the 16x times the x and then times the negative 2. 16x times the x is 16x squared. 16x times the negative 2 is negative 32x. Subtract that whole line from that whole line. 16x squared minus 16x squared is nothing. Negative 8x minus negative 32x is negative 8x plus 32x. And that gives you 24x. Whoops. And we didn't subtract off any constants, so we can just bring down the positive 13. Same game again. We're going to place a 24 up here because 24 times x is 24x. 24 times negative 2 is negative 48. 24x minus 24x is nothing. 13 minus negative 48 is 13 plus 48. So that gives us 61. Okay, and then what you do with the 61 is it's a remainder. So you can add it up here as 61 divided by x minus 2. So that's your answer. And then the way that you check your answer is this thing times this whole thing should give you that whole thing. So we'll do it. X minus 2 times x cubed plus 2x squared plus 16x plus 24 plus 61 over x minus 2. And the way that you multiply these is first you're going to take this term times everybody over here, and then you're going to take the negative 2 times everybody over there. All right, so I'm going to take the x times everybody in the second set of parentheses. X times x cubed is x to the 4th. X times 2x squared is 2x cubed. X times 16x is 16x squared. X times 24 is 24x. And I'm going to save this one till the end. Right now I'm going to move on to the negative 2. I'm going to take that times everybody in the second set of parentheses, and I get negative 2x cubed minus 2 times 2x squared is minus 4x squared. Minus 2 times 16x is minus 32x. And minus 2 times 24 is minus 48. And now I can't forget about this one. I didn't do the x times that or the minus 2 times that because I was saving it. Notice that if I take the whole thing in this parentheses, x minus 2, times 61 over x minus 2, the x minus 2's cancel and you're just left with 61. Okay? All right, so now we want to see what we have. Combining like terms. We have one x to the 4th term, so we'll write that down. We've got a 2x cubed and a minus 2x cubed, so they go away. We've got a 16x squared minus 4x squared, which leaves us 12x squareds. We've got 24x's minus 32x's, so we have minus 8x's. And then we've got a minus 48 plus 61, which gives us plus 13. And now we know we did our division correctly. I hope that helps.